Now we want to talk about pages. And here you can see my about page. And I highly recommend setting up this about me page. How can you set it up? This is pretty simple. So, what you can do is you scroll down here and then you go on edit. And then you can edit your about page. And you can also go here on insert photo and insert a high quality photo showing more about you. And then you can click on save. But before we do this, let's talk a bit more about the about pages. In the past, the about me page looked different. It was only like 3 lines where you could say, I'm a top writer, I own a publication, I'm published in startup. And now you have this like big and huge space here on Medium to share who you are. And since Valentine's Day 2022, the possibilities are endless. You could even publish your memoir here, although I don't recommend this. Before we talk about my About page, I'd like to show you some examples from Medium employees. Why do I want to show you some examples from Medium employees and not from other Medium writers? Because writing an About page, on the one hand, is more an art than a science. But in regard to science, people who are employed at Medium, they should know how to write an about. But from the examples I'll show you, you'll see that it really depends. So I will show you one from Arielle Meadows-Stallings and then another one from Buster Benson. You might be familiar with them. These are employees from the next generation of Medium. They know how Medium works and what Medium wants. And Arielle Meadows-Stallings, she hopped on a Zoom call with me in 2023. We talked about the new Boost program, which I really loved. Now in the Boost program, we have more than 130 Boost numbers. And Arielle talked with me about it when this was like a new thing on Medium. So she should definitely know how this whole about page works because she is focusing on her Google Knowledge Panel. And this is the Google Knowledge Panel. So I Googled Arielle. And what you can see here, this is her Google Knowledge Panel, her business card on the web. Google is a child you want to educate. And you want to feed Google. And that's what Arielle does perfectly. Because here it says Arielle is an author. This is perfect. Apparently she wants to be an author because she published a book or even several books, I think. And then you'll see some photos of her. You'll see that she's on Facebook, she's on Instagram. And here also is her Medium profile. If your number one online hub should be Medium beside your website, then this would also be perfect for you to have such an online presence and such a digital business card. Then in the about, this leads to Offbeat Empire. If you click on Offbeat Empire, this is Arielle's website where she shares more about her and her life and her work. And that she was featured in New York Times, Today Show, and in The Guardian. She lives in Seattle. Then the profile, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Of course, this would be better if here also would be Medium. What you can do, if you see that you have already a Google Knowledge Panel, is you can go here on the 3 dots and then you can claim this Google Knowledge Panel and also send feedback. So you can tell Google that you are the owner of this Google Knowledge Panel, and then you can also change, edit something here in the Google Knowledge Panel if Google also thinks that this is important for the customer, for the viewer, for the reader. So number 1 ranks her Offbeat Empire. Then we have Instagram. And then on 3 is already Medium. And if you scroll down, you will also see her books. Here, Offbeat Bride, From Shit Show to Afterglow. And then there is LinkedIn. And here you already see her about. And that's why I say your about is so important. Because again, it can be a money-making machine. You can become like a thought leader. You can become top of the mind. If someone read your about and then thinks, oh, a few days ago, I read this about from Arielle, for instance, and she is definitely an expert in this and that area. Why not reach out to her and ask her for an interview, ask her for her coaching session, ask her for a joint project, whatever. Here is Arielle's about. So, hi, I'm Arielle. After decades as an independent publisher, I joined Medium in 2023. I'm currently a product manager working with Medium's product team. So there is a nice photo of Arielle. It's a high quality photo. Then she shares more about how long she has been blogging. And then you can scroll down, see where she got featured, another nice image. However, like you, I contain multitudes, so she's sharing more about herself. And here is an option to contact her. If you have questions about Medium products, the best way to reach me is to leave a comment on one of my stories on the Medium blog. And this one is really true. Transparency is one of my guiding principles. So I do my best to respond to as many questions as I can. This is definitely true for Arielle. She really tries to respond to every question she gets. However, in general, Medium keeps writers in the dark about so many things. I know that Arielle is now trying to share more about Medium and how Medium works. But again, Medium often keeps writers in the dark. You can reach out to Arielle if you have any questions and ask her. So this is maybe a great option for you if you don't know what to do. So I think Arielle's example is good. If we like check this out, if you do an audit here, then we see it's Arielle Meadows-Stallings. She had this author book badge. Then she says, "Hi, I'm Arielle." She starts with the most important thing that she now joined Medium in 2023. Apparently, this is important to her. And then, like this pyramid model, she starts with the most important thing and then she goes down, 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 down. So I would also make your about you. Always, of course, think about the reader, what's important for the reader to know. And if you have your own website, then you can also share a bit more about your brand, about your company, about your online empire, about your writing business. And here, what you can do is to share more about you. But at the same time, you also share, of course, more about your services, about your products, about your career, and so many other things. But the idea of Medium is to be like 100% human. People want to connect with others. So you have to show that you are human and to add like some personal anecdotes if you want this, and also personal photos, and this is how Medium works. And we also have Buster Benson. You will see Buster Benson with a Google Knowledge panel here. Buster Benson is an author. You will get an overview here. So, for instance, David Speaks with Buster Benson here on YouTube. Then there are CNBC interviews, another interview here, busterbenson.com. This is his website. And on LinkedIn. So, apparently, here with the Google Knowledge panel, Google does not know, or for Google, it's not that important that Buster Benson works at Medium. So again, what Buster Benson could do, click here on the 3 dots and then claim this Google Knowledge panel and tell them, for instance, hey, I'm a Medium employee, so of course, Medium is very important for me. Please add this to my Google Knowledge panel. And here again, this is perfect, busterbenson.com, because we want to be like the number 1 website on the web when it's all about us. So our WordPress blog should be number 1. And then, of course, if you scroll down, let me check this, you will see the books of Buster Benson. And what you don't see here on number 1 is his about page. Why is this? What we see here is this one, Buster Benson, and this will lead us here to Buster Benson. Why don't we see Buster Benson's about? Because if you go here, then it's very, very short. It might be too short, okay? So product at Medium, author of Why Are We Yelling, and builder of 70-50 words. All of my writing and weird projects can be found on, and I'm a Buster on Medium Mastodon. Say hello, So this might be too short for Google. However, it worked for Buster. Before he started being an employee at Medium, he was already writing on Medium. So for him, it's very, very short and sweet. You could do this, but again, there's missing some personal information. I think that Buster knows that people might Google him, and then when they Google him, they come to this Google Knowledge panel. But however, Medium is like this ecosystem, and you want to share who you are inside this ecosystem, inside this Medium universe. But this is just to show you how Arielle does it and how Buster does it. And of course, you could do it as Buster does. But then again, if you want this Google Knowledge panel, then for instance, your about won't show up. And this is what you want to do, especially if you like focus on Medium. But again, keep in mind that your number 1 should be your own personal blog, your website, or maybe your link tree where you share like all the links for social media. Then now come back to my about. My about is definitely not perfect. I'm changing it all the time. It's like a living, breathing thing. I changed this based on the recommendation I got from Jason Barnard, the SERP guy. So he shared with me that you should have like this one about, and then you should share this one about on your website, on your Substack, on your Medium, on your LinkedIn, and so on, so on. And since Medium now offers us this like huge space inside the Medium universe, what I did was to add some more information. So in the past, it was very, very short, like let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines or so. And then it was like this call to action to whatever, my Medium Kickstarter bootcamp. But now it is this longer about where I share a bit more details about me. However, what's missing is like this personal part, this who is Christina really, I'd love to see a picture with her and her kids or with her hubby. And why don't you share more personal details? I talked with Jason about this and he said, of course, you can do this. This would come then here a bit later. So you should start with the most important facts and then you go down, like to millennial or whatever. Then you go down to millennium or so. But for me, I just stick with this like more professional about, but maybe in the future I will change this. So what I definitely recommend is adding more personal details here, adding more like human touch to this, because this is definitely what Medium likes. Similar to what Arielle did by sharing her personal photos and more background information. So the idea of this about is always that you give every reader who comes through your digital door the same great first impression of you. That's what we want to do with our avatar, with our bio, with our about, with the design of our profile page, and also with the lists. And each reader gets to know you in the way you want to be known. Meaning, similar to Arielle, what do you want to focus on? Is it your professional life? Is it your personal life? Is it both combined? What do you want to be known for? And let them take the right first steps with you. So for instance, buying your best starter product, scheduling a free call, or becoming a subscriber to your email list. That's what I do. So people who think, oh, Christina seems to be an interesting person, an interesting writer. I'd like to know more about her and her writing. And then I link to my Substack profile. Of course, this is nothing any social media platform likes. Every social media platform wants that you stay on this profile. Every social media platform wants that you stay on this one platform and that you don't link to another platform. But this about page offers you this possibility. Of course, you can also do this in a story, but I also highly recommend to do this here in the about, because so many people are coming here and reading a bit more about you and want to get to know you better. And in general with the about, we want to connect with our readers. We want to build trust and we want to be kept on top of mind for a sustained period of time if this is possible. So make this about page as memorable as possible. Not sure whether I made my about page as memorable as possible. I guess I will go over this in a few weeks again if I find the time and then change it. So this is just an example. So aloha, I'm Christina God. I'm a successful mompreneur and writer on the Buzzy publishing platform Substack and Medium. So here I say that I'm a writer because I want Google to know that I'm a writer. I was featured in publications such as Better Marketing, so I was featured in Medium's biggest publications. Besides being an online writer, I'm an online writer. I have over 15 years of experience, so apparently Christina is not only a writer, she's also a marketing expert, and she has experience in journalism and PR and marketing in general. I'm a successful course instructor who helps creators monetize, promote their content, and start their businesses. So since I have multiple online courses, I say that I am a course instructor and that I help creators monetize, promote their content, and start their business. And this is in general what I recommend, that you share what you can do for others. So I'll help creators monetize, promote their content, and start their business. And in addition, I'm married and I have 2 lovely kids. That's all I'm sharing here. But of course, if people want to learn more about me, then they can read my about post. This is what I'll share in a bit. What you can do is you can pin an about page to your profile. I highly recommend this, and I will show you exactly how to do this. Then in addition, need help to market and monetize your writing newsletter, then go here on christina.substack.com. Then I share that I'm a top 1,000 writer on Medium with all these top writer badges. They used to be a thing. They aren't a thing anymore. this whole top writer thing changed a bit. So in the past, you got these badges. Now you don't get them, but you can still become a top writer, which I will also show you. And then I'm one of the most viewed writers on Quora. Then I'm one of the most viewed writers on Quora in the topic Medium. Then here I say, join Christina's Substack newsletter. I'm not sure why this shows up again, because I click on edit. I show you this. I wouldn't say Christina's Substack newsletter. I would say Christina's online writing club. And then watch Christina's YouTube tutorials and interviews. And then I click on save to change this. So this is how I can edit my about. It's pretty easy. I click on edit. And then I can start typing here. And then I could, for instance, also say I need some more white space. I could also go here and then highlight something. So for instance, I'm a top 1,000 writer and make this bold. And I can also go here and insert a photo. I always say that readers are like goldfish. Okay, so they only have like attention spans of 3 seconds or even less. So they would come on your about, they would like, okay, Christina, So they would see, Christina got, she writing cooperative, married, oh, Substack, here top writer, and that's it, maybe Quora, and then maybe find my YouTube tutorials or whatever. And also add a CTA, so tell people what's your call to action, what's the action you want them to take. And of course, the best way is to keep them on Medium. This is what Medium wants and loves. This is how you will get rewarded for Medium. So you could also ask people to subscribe to your emails and to follow you. This could be your call to action. But again, if you want to sell other things, for instance, your book, you want to sell your coaching sessions, your products, and you want to offer your services, or you want to generate a backlink, which is very important for your website, then what you also could do is to link to your website from Medium, because Medium, as I showed, has a high domain authority. It had a domain authority of over 19, and this really helps you. So compared to your blog will only have like a DA of, let's say, 10 or 20, or even less than this, or 0, when you're just starting out. But on Medium, you have already this high domain authority. Capitalize on Medium and link to your website, because Medium is this source that Google trusts. And so if you link from Google to your website, then Google will know, apparently a very high rated website is linking back to this website. So this should be also a trustworthy source, and this will help you like rank higher on Medium as well. So to sum it up, I showed you how important your about page is, not only for the casual viewers and visitors who you want to turn into readers and subscribers, but also for Google, which you want to educate, and you could rank on the first page on Google with your About Me page. So I showed the example from Arielle. Arielle Meadows-Stallings is showing up on Google. Buster Benson isn't showing up on Google with his very, 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 very short and sweet about. However, both are employees at Medium, so apparently both works. And since your about page is like the second most visited page on your profile, my recommendation is to really think about it. Don't overthink it. Don't spend too much time on it, but start. Definitely add an about page here. And then, same as I do, like it's a living, breathing thing. You can change it whenever you want. Think about, what do you want your readers to know about you? What do you want to be known for on Google? And is there anything you want to link to? If you have a service or a product or a website you want to link to. But again, in regard to Medium, Medium wants you to stay on the platform. Medium wants to have all the traffic on Medium. So my recommendation then is the call to action could only be like to please follow me and to become a subscriber on Medium. While you can edit everything we were talking about manually. So you can insert an image, you can edit the text, you can insert screenshots. What you can't edit manually is this one. So it shows that I'm a Medium member since December 2020. Of course, you can fake this somehow if you don't want people to know that you started in 2020, for instance, what you could do is that you just cancel your membership and then at another point start it again. And then it would show, for instance, I could change it. I could quit it now. And then it would show, for instance, June or July 2024. Then it shows that I'm an editor of the Online Writing and Blogging Made Easy. This is my own publication I own on Medium. So in the past, I also was an editor for the short form, for instance, and other publications. This is something that Medium generates automatically. So this is something you can't change. So the moment you become an editor, then Medium will show this automatically. You can't ask Medium to hide this. This is something that they show transparently. Here, this is my follower count. Then the number of people I'm following. Also something that is generated automatically. And in the past, what you could see here is whether someone was a top writer. So, for instance, I was a top writer, as I showed here, in multiple categories. For instance, reading, future, social media, inspiration, writing. And then this showed up here. So Christina is a top writer in the categories social media, reading, future, inspiration, writing. Maybe this will come back at some point. At the moment, it's not a thing anymore. I loved it because it showed that this person was writing in a specific category over and over again. And apparently people were reading the stuff of this person. But this is also something that was generated automatically. Then we have Connect with Christina God MBA on Mastodon and X. So in your settings, you can also tell Medium that you have a Mastodon account. Medium also has a Mastodon community. And in addition, you could tell them that you have an X account. So how to come there, go on your avatar, you go on settings, and then on security and apps. If I now would like to connect my Mastodon account to Medium, what I have to do is I go here and then proceed to sign in. And this is my Mastodon account. As you can see here, I joined in March 2023. I only posted 4 posts. I have about 50 followers. And I'm not using Mastodon at the moment because I also don't think that Medium is using Mastodon. Of course, you could also share, besides Twitter and X, also share your stories via Mastodon. You can try this. But at the moment, I don't have a real recommendation here. I think that Medium isn't capitalizing on it anymore. I think they wanted to capitalize on this decentralized social network. They didn't want to be associated with TikTok, for instance, or Facebook or so. And that's why they wanted to go with this decentralized Fediverse. But somehow I think they missed to really build an engaged community here, and I never see them promote their Mastodon instance anymore in their server here. So you can do this. You can add your Mastodon profile to your Medium if you want this. There is also some guidance which you can find about how to add this. But since I can't recommend it at the moment, I also won't show you this. I will check out this later. There's an error. What else can you do? I'm not on Facebook. So what you can do is you connect it to your Facebook. And then whenever you post a story, you can share this story on Facebook. In addition, there is X. That's what I do. So whenever I publish a story, I share the story here on X. But to be transparent here, I quit X somehow, meaning I just use X to promote, to share my Medium stories. But I know this way I won't grow on X. I used to use it back in 2022 when I had my cohorts. I showed people how to use it. And from there, I grew to now about 3,000 followers. If you have the time, then make use of it. Now, X also pays writers who get more than 1 million views per month. How I am capitalizing on this connection between Medium and X at the moment, as I said, I don't use Mastodon, don't use Facebook. My triangle is that I use Medium together with X and together with a Substack and together with YouTube. But again, this triangle I have is Substack, YouTube, Medium. These are the social media platforms I'm focusing on. However, what you can do is at the moment that you simply share your posts on X. And I will show you how to do this. So if you have a post you want to share, then what you can do is you click on the post and then you click on this icon, share. And now you can say, I want to share this on X, I want to share it on Facebook, I want to share it on LinkedIn. So you can also add your LinkedIn to Medium. My hubby is connected to LinkedIn via Google. So I think if I click this now, then I would come here to Patrick's LinkedIn. I don't use LinkedIn for my side hustle. For me, this is like 100% only for my professional life. But here with Patrick's account now, I could share this post on LinkedIn within seconds. This is pretty easy. Another thing I recommend you to do when we're talking about this here now is for X, what's much better than just sharing it on X is to copy a friend link. A friend link is a link that enables anyone with this link to read your story for free. And this is what I love. This is what you can do on X, because in the past, people could read up to 3 stories per month for free. In addition, if a story was here shared via X, then people could read this story for free. Now, this isn't possible anymore. So my idea is that what you can do is you go here on copy. So you go here on share, you copy friend link. And then what you could do is that you now go on post and then you share this friend link, because often people get frustrated and they're sending me emails saying, Christina, you're sharing the story. I want to read it, but I can't read the story because it's behind the paywall. So, of course, I want people to read my story and to get this and earn this 1 cent or 2 cents for reading my story. This is like the one thing I want. But the other thing I want is to build an audience and to help people. So I always love to share then friend links. But again, I would on X at the moment share those friend links to offer those who are interested really to click on it. In addition, in the back end, you can then see how many people came via X and read your story via X, just to see maybe if your story, although it's not that good performing on Medium, might be performing via X because people are really interested in the story. And then you could create more of these stories, because you not only have to think about Medium, but also about other platforms. This is what I love, that at least Medium is offering this. But again, to give a little wrap up here, Mastodon, as far as I see it, Mastodon's dead because Medium definitely missed to build a community there. I think Facebook is still huge. You can there join great communities. You can build an audience there. This can also be top of your funnel, that you get people from Facebook to Medium and from Medium then to your Substack. And so at the moment, I think still Facebook is a great platform because it has a huge reach and everybody knows it. It's a well-known brand. So if you want to connect it to your Facebook, then definitely do it. And it's nice if you can just share your stories on Facebook and X and also on LinkedIn. This helps you. I always say you need to amplify your story. So often if you think, oh no, this story, totally tanked on Medium, then share it on Facebook or share it on X or share it wherever you want to share it. And then somehow your story again goes up and up the views, and you're what? Again, I get 10, 20, 100,000 more views. This could happen on other social media platforms because Medium is at the moment very limited to this boost system and this curation system, and also stories they promote and others they don't promote. So often what I see is if I share a story on YouTube, I can share this how I'm doing this and sharing my story. So here on YouTube, I have this community tab. And what I'm doing here that I'm often sharing stories. For instance, this one, create a Substack Medium hybrid and triple your income. This was a story on Medium. It was performing well on Medium. But again, I wanted to offer my subscribers some more service here and help them grow and show them how important I think this social media connection between Medium and Substack is. And so 9 people liked this, and I also got a comment. And so people are thankful if you share a friend link with them. Of course, you want people to pay you. You want to get paid to be you, to write 100%. But again, offer as much as possible for free so you can build this audience, especially if you are a new writer. And I do this all the time. Here, for instance, this is also a friend link. So whenever I think there is something interesting for the community on YouTube, this is what I do. And then I share the friend link, and the friend link can also help me get more views on Medium. So again, unfortunately, you can't add YouTube, but these would be my recommendations. So now we want to go back to the about and check whether we talked about everything. So we talked already about the name. We talked about the about, short and sweet. Also link to the website you have or to services and products you have. Then my recommendation was to also link to your Substack and to your email list to build this email list. Follower count, the people you're following, and then again, connect with X. Since you can't add, for instance, YouTube or TikTok at the moment, my recommendation then would be that you go here with your about and then link in your about to your other socials, the socials that Medium doesn't show here. But maybe this will change and then they will add other socials as well. Because, for instance, on YouTube, what you can do here and what I love is if you go here, then you see 4 more links. And then I have like Substack, I have Gumroad, I have Medium, I have Twitter, I have Quora, And this is what I love. Although I would also love if you could here see the Substack logo or the Gumroad logo. But I think, again, something like Medium and Quora and Twitter, these are platforms that people often link to from YouTube. And I'd love it if Medium would offer the same. So now, after talking about how to make this money-making profile, there's of course more. You might ask, Christina, okay, now I have my name, now I have my bio, now I have my about. How about this one, the lists you have here? I think this list feature is awesome. It's an element you can customize to improve your profile, and it's an easy way to sort through your stories and put them into groups. And as you can see here, I have several lists, and I think this is pretty great. Whenever I write a story, I put this story in a list. If I write a story for better marketing, I put it here. If I write about the boost, I put it here. If I write about Medium's FAQs, I put it here. About a side hustle, I put it here. About YouTube, I put it here. Mind Cafe, I put it here. And I not only call these lists, I also call these playlists. Because, let me close this one here. Here on YouTube, what I have is playlists. And then I can say, for instance, here's a playlist about Substack, about Medium, about AI, about Canva, And I see like these lists similar to playlists on YouTube so that people can really binge watch or binge read your lists. This is the idea I have for them. So, and this reading list, this is private. This is just for me. And I could click here and make this list public, but this is just for me. And this one, for instance, this is already public. And then I could also say that I would make this list private. So I will show you how to do this in a minute, just to see this, that you can also create your own reading list with stories that inspire you. You can see here, I have more than 1,400 stories in this reading list. Apparently, I've got a lot to read. Medium is full of great stories. Often you don't find the time. Maybe I would need like 3 years to read through this whole reading list here. But this is the idea, Often we bookmark something, we think this is interesting, and then we put this in a specific folder, in a specific list, into a specific playlist. And then at some point on our Medium journey, we come there and say, Christina wrote this story about parenting, and I definitely now want to check it out. So people can go here, for instance, with the parenting stories, and then they can say, wow, I really love this, and I want to read, every story Christina wrote about being a parent. And I could also add here a note, for instance, a brief description telling people what this is all about. People could also clap for it. People could leave a comment. So in the back end, you will get a notification telling you that someone likes your playlist and maybe like binge watched your whole playlist. Now let me show you how to add a story to the list. So this is pretty simple. You read a story, for instance, this one, you think it is important to save, to bookmark. Then you can click here on this icon, and then you can add it to your reading list. The reading list is by default, so you can go here and then you can add it to your personal reading list. In addition, you could create a new list. So how to create a new list? You go here on create new list. You give it a name, for instance, from beginner to expert on Substack series. So what I recommend is not to only give it a name, such as trees or so, but to really give it a name that could also be a headline so that people click it. Because at the bottom of your stories, you could then link to this playlist, to this list, so that people like read every story and really binge read every story from this list. So from beginner to expert on Substack series, this is something I would click on Medium. So I would also click this if it was a playlist. In addition, I can add a description and explain here what it is. From interviewing. Now I could also add a description. This is optional. From interviewing Substack expert, which grew their email list from 0 to 10,000 subscribers. Now I could say I make it private, so no one could have access to it. Or I say I would love to share this in public. We can go with this one. I created. We made this public. So now if you click here on the bookmark icon, then we see from beginner to expert on Substack. Okay, now I added this to this folder. This is this one. And so people could now binge read this one list from me, this playlist, and read every story. If it's locked, then it's just for you. And this shows that it's public. If we now click the list, again, what we could do is you could also here leave a response. For instance, join my online writing club for more. And then link to your Substack. This is a nice hack, I think. So this way you can capitalize on playlists by adding your own like little promo marketing tool here and link to your email list, your services or products or whatever you have, your book. And now people will see this here, and the thumbnail will always be the latest story you added. In this case, it's this one. My Substack newsletter just hit 1,000 subs. Here's what I've learned. And this will be the thumbnail then of this playlist. And people will see this when they come to your profile. They see, oh, this is Christina, her bio, her name, and then, and she also has lists. And my idea is I have multiple lists, but maybe it's better to just focus on one or two, especially if you are writing in one or two specific categories, topics, then I would recommend to go with 1 to 2 or max 3 lists here. As I did, I think I do this to categorize and to put them, for instance, in the Better Marketing folder or into the Mind Cafe folder. However, if you, for instance, Google my name and you would look for my name on Google and then Google for Better Marketing, then often what you can find is my Better Marketing curated list on my profile with all the stories. So it can be beneficial if you think someone would Google for a specific publication to also have a specific folder, a specific list with all the posts you published in this specific publication. However, what I see often is that people only have 2 to 3 folders, and in these lists, they categorize their writing. And then, for instance, you would have one about relationships and another one about dog training or so. And this way, people could come there and then check out your stories. Another idea would be you could also here in the list offer your latest stories or your best performing stories. There is no one-fits-all approach here. You have to experiment a bit and see whether people click it. You will see this in the back end of your publication, of your Medium profile, whether people engage with your content and read it. So just experiment a bit with lists and definitely add lists to your profile. And you can do this the moment you start bookmarking something, and then you can show here lists on your profile. What's important to know is that every list is a web page, meaning it has a unique URL you can share online. And this is pretty handy because instead of sharing a specific post at the bottom of your article and promote this specific post as if you are interested in this post, then this might also be interesting for you. What you can do is you can share a whole list. And I want to give you an example with this one, okay? So here in this hilarious and honest parenting stories list, I can scroll down, find this one. I worry about my kids awful but funny table manners. I scroll down, and what you can see here, if you like this, I have some more stories on parenting to tickle your fancy, okay? And then people could go here and binge read my 70 stories about parenting. We talked about the name, lists, bio, and the about. Now we want to talk about the design of our publication.